Something is about to step into view, and once you notice it, you can't unsee it. A distant figure crossing a mountainside, a silent shape standing between the trees, strange sounds echoing through the darkness with no obvious source. Each moment lasts only seconds, yet they've fueled years of debate. Tonight, we're examining 9 Bigfoot sightings caught on camera. Some may have ordinary explanations. Others remain unexplained. By the end of the video, you can decide for yourself what was really hiding in the wilderness. Few places in North America feel as wild and untouched as Yosemite National Park. Known for its towering mountains, dense forests, and miles of remote backcountry that few visitors ever reach, the park has also become the setting for countless stories of unusual sightings over the years. One of the most discussed accounts dates back to 1973, when a park ranger identified as Officer Thompson reportedly recorded footage during a patrol along an isolated ridge. According to the story surrounding the video, the encounter happened unexpectedly and quickly became unlike anything the ranger had experienced before. The footage begins with the camera focused on a distant ridgeline. At first, nothing appears unusual, but as the shot continues, a large figure can be seen standing on the slope. According to the account, the figure appears to be between 7 and 8 feet tall, covered in dark brown hair, and moving upright across the rugged terrain. Because of the distance and the quality of the footage, it is difficult to make out fine details, but its remarkable size and upright posture have remained the center of debate for decades. As the encounter continues, the figure suddenly stops moving and appears to face in the direction of the ranger. The account says Officer Thompson slowly raises his hands, seemingly trying to show that he is not a threat. For several long moments, neither side appears to move, creating a quiet, uneasy standoff that has made this portion of the footage especially memorable. Near the end of the clip, the figure remains in place before sounds can be heard that have been described as deep, echoing vocalizations carrying through the surrounding wilderness. The camera stays fixed on the distant figure, as if waiting for something else to happen, until the recording suddenly comes to an end, leaving viewers without a clear explanation of what happened next. Although the footage lasts only a minute, it has continued to spark debate among people interested in unexplained sightings. Some believe it documents an encounter with an unknown creature, while others think there could be a more ordinary explanation. Decades later, no explanation has been universally accepted, leaving the reported Yosemite encounter as one of the most enduring and mysterious Bigfoot stories associated with the park. Washington's Hoh Rainforest in Olympic National Park is known for its towering trees, thick moss, and lush green landscape. The quiet trails and dense vegetation make it one of the most recognizable forests in the Pacific Northwest. During what was supposed to be a peaceful hike, a visitor recorded a short video while following her daughter along the trail. After reviewing the footage, some viewers noticed what appears to be a dark figure standing deeper in the forest. The video begins with the camera moving along a quiet trail lined with large ferns and towering trees covered in moss. The person filming follows the path at a relaxed pace, capturing the peaceful surroundings as sunlight filters through the forest canopy. As the camera turns toward a brighter opening in the woods, a tall, dark figure can be seen standing among the distant trees. The figure appears to remain still and is partially hidden by branches and thick vegetation, making it difficult to identify exactly what is being seen. Because the sighting lasts only a few moments, viewers have reached different conclusions about what the footage actually shows. In the final moments of the recording, the camera continues moving along the trail and briefly passes behind a large moss-covered tree. For a split second, the dark figure can still be seen in the background before it is completely hidden from view as the path curves away. The clip ends without another clear look at the subject. Since it was shared online, the short video has become another source of debate among people interested in unexplained sightings. Some believe the figure is something unusual hidden among the trees, while others think there may be a simpler explanation. Because the footage is brief and distant, the question of what was standing in the rainforest remains unanswered. Salt Fork State Park in Ohio has become one of the best-known locations in the United States for Bigfoot reports. For years, visitors and local residents have shared stories of unusual sightings, leading many researchers to focus their attention on the park, especially an area known as Bigfoot Ridge. In this investigation, outdoor researchers Nathan and Eric use high-definition drone footage to search parts of the park that are difficult to reach on foot, hoping to document anything unusual from above. The recording begins with aerial footage sweeping over the forests and rolling hills of Salt Fork State Park. The drone slowly scans the dense tree canopy and open clearings below, giving a wide view of the landscape as the search gets underway. At first, nothing appears out of the ordinary as the camera continues across the remote terrain. After a closer look at one section of the forest, the drone zooms toward a small opening in the trees where a large dark figure can be seen near the brush. The figure appears to be low to the ground before later appearing upright as it moves through the vegetation. Because of the distance and the angle of the drone, it is difficult to determine exactly what the camera captured, but this moment has become the main focus of the investigation. The video then includes commentary from the researchers along with news coverage discussing the legend of the Ohio Grassman. The segment explains reported descriptions of the creature and explores why Salt Fork State Park has remained one of the most talked about locations for Bigfoot sightings over the years. It also references claims and theories that have been shared within the cryptid community, while making it clear that they remain subjects of debate.
This is the best place to look for evidence because not only being one of the Sasquatchiest places in the country, it's also got a place called Bigfoot Ridge. This is about as close as they get, and this is what really spooks the guys.
Near the end of the video, the footage returns to enlarged drone images of the figure moving through the forest. The researchers review the images from different angles and discuss what they believe can be seen, but the recording does not provide a definitive answer. As with many similar videos, viewers are left to decide for themselves whether the figure is something unusual or has a more ordinary explanation. For many Bigfoot enthusiasts, the Salt Fork footage remains another interesting case worth examining. While some believe the drone captured evidence of an unknown creature, others remain unconvinced. Without clearer footage or additional evidence, the video continues to fuel discussion about what may or may not be living in the forests of Ohio. Some landscapes are so steep and unforgiving that simply walking across them seems nearly impossible. Loose rocks, thick vegetation, and uneven ground can turn every step into a challenge, even for experienced hikers. One video shared on Reddit's r/Bigfoot community has attracted widespread attention because it appears to show a large figure moving across this kind of difficult terrain with surprising ease. The post includes 2 different clips that many viewers have studied closely, hoping to determine exactly what the camera captured. The footage begins with a wide view of a steep hillside covered with trees, rocks, and dense brush. The camera slowly scans the slope, and at first, nothing appears out of the ordinary. The rugged terrain alone makes it clear how difficult it would be for anyone to cross the hillside on foot.
A couple big bucks running around here. But anyways, I'll probably have to make a video later. I think I'll make a video later on after dark. But in the meantime, one of our followers of the channel is now a contributor and sent some amazing video of a black upright being in broad daylight ripping down a cliff along some cliff faces through gullies and did not stop and kept ripping.
As the recording continues, a large, dark figure suddenly becomes visible moving across the hillside. The figure appears to remain upright, while maintaining a slow, steady, and deliberate pace over the uneven ground. Many viewers have pointed to the smooth way it moves across the slope, although the distance and video quality make it difficult to identify exactly what the figure is. Its unusual movement is what has kept the footage at the center of online debate. The video then cuts to a second clip that provides a closer view of the same subject. From this angle, the figure can be seen continuing through thick brush and across rocky ground without appearing to stop or lose its balance. The closer perspective gives viewers a better look, but it still offers no clear answer about what is being recorded. That uncertainty has become one of the main reasons the clip continues to be discussed online.
Instead of taking trails, you just side-hilled all through this shit. It was on top of this cliff. Came down that, straight down, and then walked over. Now he's over there.
In the final part of the video, the figure continues along the upper section of the hillside before eventually disappearing behind the trees. The camera remains fixed on the area for several more moments, almost as if waiting for the figure to emerge again. But it never does. The recording ends without a clear conclusion, leaving viewers with more questions than answers. The footage has sparked ongoing debate among people interested in unexplained sightings. Some believe it shows an unknown creature moving through the mountains, while others think there may be a more ordinary explanation. Despite countless replays and discussions, no explanation has been universally accepted, which is why the video continues to circulate among Bigfoot enthusiasts and skeptics alike. Deep within the Montana Rockies, the wilderness stretches for miles without roads, towns, or signs of human activity. Dense forests, steep mountain terrain, and remote valleys have long been connected to reports of possible Sasquatch sightings. In this video, an expedition team is exploring one of these isolated areas while examining what they believe to be an unusual structure made from broken trees and large pieces of timber. At first, the investigation appears routine, but moments later, something unexpected interrupts their search. The footage begins with members of the expedition walking away from a large arrangement of broken wood hidden deep in the forest. As they move through the area, the camera captures the thick brush and dense trees surrounding the location, highlighting just how isolated the site truly is.
If you come right here, there's a little spot to hop over. You can step on that log right there. Whoa! Almost slipped in. This is insane. Insane amount of trees in here. This is like a zoo in here. Seriously. Unbelievable.
A few moments later, the silence is suddenly broken by a loud wood knock echoing through the forest. The sound immediately catches the group's attention, and the camera quickly shifts toward an opening in the vegetation. As the lens focuses on the area, a large grayish-dark figure appears to move behind the brush. The view lasts only a moment, and the dense vegetation makes it impossible to determine exactly what is being seen. But the brief movement has become one of the clip's most debated moments.
It's a sharp, quick whistle. Yep. It's not a tree. It sounds similar to what we're hearing up there at the camp, doesn't it?
Yep, it did. Yep, like what we heard this
These
morning.
maybe they followed us down the road here. Are we gonna see another tree fall, man? It sure looks like it. Look at these fuckers.
In the final part of the clip, the camera remains fixed on the opening in the trees, as if waiting for the figure to appear again. For a brief moment, what appears to be a large face can be seen looking through the gap before retreating back into the surrounding vegetation. The glimpse is incredibly brief and partially hidden by the brush, leaving viewers with only a fleeting look before the figure vanishes from sight. Since it was shared, the footage has become another topic of discussion among people interested in unexplained sightings. Some viewers believe the figure and the woodknock are connected, while others think there may be a more ordinary explanation. Without a clear view of the subject, no explanation has been universally accepted, leaving the Montana encounter as another enduring mystery in the search for Sasquatch. Hidden deep within the wooded hills of rural Alabama is a place that local researchers have come to call Creepy Mountain. For years, the area has been connected to reports of unusual sounds and unexplained experiences, eventually earning a place on Animal Planet's Finding Bigfoot. During a nighttime investigation, the team reviewed both night vision and thermal footage after noticing something unusual in the surrounding forest.
There's good habitat in Alabama. I mean, it's typical southern environment, you know, it's pretty logged over, a lot of regrowth, a lot of pines, some hardwood. Supports a lot of deer, wildlife, turkeys, raccoons, possums. They got it all down here, so Bigfoot can be here just as well.
The clip begins with the investigators examining night vision footage recorded on the heavily forested ridge. The camera slowly scans through the trees and thick vegetation, and at first, nothing appears out of the ordinary. The team carefully searches the dark landscape for any sign of movement, while the forest remains quiet and still. A short time later, the camera settles on a large, dark shape that appears to be standing behind the brush. From the footage, the figure seems to have broad shoulders and a noticeable head shape, although much of its body remains partially hidden by the surrounding vegetation.
Right here is a figure standing what appears to be in the foreground of a tree with some type of foliage, say from mid-torso down. You can see head, you can see shoulders.
Well, if you can see head and shoulders, you can automatically eliminate other animals like bears or deer or whatever. We're looking at a Sasquatch or a human being.
Yeah, absolutely, Cliff. This is not a bear. Bears would have more of that slope with their shoulders coming down. That straight across shoulders, that's not a bear.
Because of the darkness and limited visibility, the team carefully discusses what they are seeing, but cannot reach a definite conclusion. The investigation then turns to thermal footage of the same area. As the researchers compare the image with the visible heat signatures of people nearby, they point out that the distant figure appears much less defined on the thermal display. The unusual difference immediately becomes the focus of the discussion as the team tries to determine whether there is a simple explanation or if something else could account for what the camera recorded. In the final part of the clip, the researchers continue discussing the figure and what might be visible in the footage.
We're all in agreement that the original figure is upright, not a bear and not a deer. But what we have to do is eliminate any possibility that that's not a human.
They consider different possibilities while keeping the camera fixed on the same section of the forest, hoping the figure will reveal itself more clearly. But it never does. The video ends without identifying the object, leaving viewers to draw their own conclusions about what was captured that night. The footage from Creepy Mountain continues to be discussed by people interested in unexplained sightings.
If this is really a Bigfoot, I would expect the heat signature to show a little bit brighter than that. The fact that it's so dim might be an indicator that it's a guy in a costume. Are these guys hoaxing us? Were they hoaxed? The only way we can be sure is by figuring out if the figure is larger than a person.
Some viewers believe the investigation captured something unusual, while others think the images could have a more ordinary explanation. Without clearer evidence, no explanation has been universally accepted, making this one of the most debated moments from the investigation. For decades, the forested hills around Mission, British Columbia have been linked to reports of something that many believe shouldn't exist. Locals, hikers, and outdoor enthusiasts have shared accounts of unusual sightings in the area, making it one of Canada's best-known locations for Bigfoot discussions. In 2013, an anonymous tourist shared a short video that was reportedly recorded while exploring these remote hills. According to the person who uploaded it, they had no idea anything unusual had been captured until they reviewed the footage later. The video begins with a handheld camera pointed toward a steep hillside covered in thick trees. The shot is slightly shaky, and the only sounds are distant birds and the eerie silence of the surrounding forest. At first, everything appears completely ordinary as the camera slowly scans the hillside, revealing nothing that seems out of place. Then, as the person filming zooms in toward an open section near the top of the ridge, a large, dark figure suddenly becomes visible. The figure appears to be walking across the slope on two legs, moving with a slow, steady, and deliberate pace. Because of the distance and the video quality, it is difficult to identify exactly what it is, but its upright movement is what has fueled years of debate among viewers. During the final part of the clip, the figure keeps moving across the hillside before reaching the tree line, where it gradually disappears from view behind the dense forest. The camera remains fixed on the area for several more moments, almost as if the person filming is waiting for it to appear again. But it never does. That ending has led many people to replay the footage, searching for any detail that might explain what crossed the ridge. Although the video is short and does not provide a clear answer, it continues to be discussed by people interested in Bigfoot reports. Some believe it shows an unknown creature, while others think there could be a more ordinary explanation. After years of debate, however, no explanation has been universally accepted, leaving the footage from Mission as one of the most enduring and mysterious Bigfoot clips discussed by enthusiasts today. Long before smartphones and high-definition cameras, one mysterious recording from the Colorado Rockies left behind more questions than answers. Known for their towering peaks, deep snow, and remote wilderness that can be difficult to reach even today, the Rockies have also been linked to stories of strange creatures seen in the mountains. One of the oldest pieces of footage connected to those stories is said to have been filmed during a Boy Scout camping trip in 1962. Captured on vintage 8mm film, the recording has remained a topic of discussion among Bigfoot researchers for decades. The footage opens with grainy black and white film slowly panning across a wide, snow-covered mountainside high in the Rockies. The camera scans the landscape, and at first, everything appears completely ordinary. The rugged terrain stretches into the distance before something unusual finally comes into view.
I'm Keith Hoffman, executive producer of Finding Bigfoot. And I have to admit, when I started this series, I was a bit of a skeptic. I am going to show you some of our strongest evidence that made me reconsider my position on Bigfoot.
A short time later, the camera settles on a dark figure moving across the snowy slope. The figure appears to be walking on two legs as it makes its way through the deep snow with slow, deliberate movements. At one point, it seems to turn in the direction of the camera before continuing across the mountainside. Because of the age and quality of the film, it is difficult to determine exactly what the figure is, but its upright movement and apparent size have kept people debating the footage for more than 60 years.
This 8mm footage from Colorado might be the first recorded footage of Bigfoot ever. It was recorded by a dad accompanying a Boy Scout group camping in the Rockies.
In the final moments, the figure continues across the rocky, snow-covered terrain. It appears to raise one arm as it moves from one rock to another while maintaining its balance on the uneven surface. The camera remains fixed on the distant figure until the clip abruptly ends, leaving viewers with only a brief glimpse of whatever was crossing the mountain.
You can see this creature's left arm going up in the air as it jumps from rock to rock, as if it's trying to balance himself. Is he trying to keep his big feet out of the snow? They must get cold.
More than 60 years later, this recording is still part of the conversation whenever historic Bigfoot footage is discussed. Some viewers believe it shows an unknown creature moving through the Rockies, while others think it could simply be a person seen from a great distance. Despite decades of analysis, no explanation has been universally accepted, leaving this vintage film as one of the most enduring and mysterious Bigfoot recordings ever associated with the Colorado Rockies. Yellowstone National Park is one of the largest and most remote wilderness areas in North America. With its deep pine forests, steaming geysers, and vast stretches of untamed terrain, it has long been the setting for stories of unexplained sightings. One piece of footage that attracted widespread attention among Bigfoot enthusiasts came from a live national park webcam, where viewers believed they had spotted 4 large, upright figures moving together near Old Faithful. The footage opens with a wide, stationary view of Yellowstone's snow-covered landscape near the steaming geyser basins. At first, the scene appears to show nothing more than the park's quiet winter scenery. Then, several dark shapes become visible near the distant tree line, drawing the attention of viewers watching the live stream.
We see, let's see, 1, 2, 3. We've got 4 Bigfoots on screen at the same time hunting them. It's a world record. So thank you guys for watching, and just kidding, stick around and we will take a closer look.
As the recording continues, the camera captures what appear to be 4 large upright figures making their way across the deep snow in a loose, single-file formation. The figures maintain slow, deliberate movements while crossing the open terrain. Because of the distance and the webcam's limited resolution, it is impossible to determine exactly what they are, but their coordinated movement has become the focus of ongoing debate.
He's back here, just behind these trees, and I just simply took a copy of him, put him up here for scale, and we can see that, remember, bison are measured at their shoulders.
The figures continue moving across the snowy landscape, eventually passing near a group of grazing bison. Their apparent height compared with the surrounding animals has fueled speculation among viewers, although the distance and camera angle make accurate size estimates difficult. Even as they cross the uneven, snow-covered ground, the figures maintain a steady pace.
And boom, already the 4 made it to right here, and I'll scrub back and forth. See where they are now? Now think about that. Could you and your friends put on some monkey suits and risk freezing cold temperatures and scalding hot water from geysers?
In the final minutes of the recording, the 4 figures continue toward the elevated ridgeline before gradually disappearing into the dense evergreen forest. The stationary camera remains fixed on the area, but the figures never emerge again, leaving the footage without a clear conclusion. Since it was first noticed, the webcam recording has remained one of Yellowstone's most discussed Bigfoot-related clips. Some viewers believe it captured an unknown group of creatures crossing the park, while others argue there are more ordinary explanations, such as people or optical illusions caused by distance and perspective. Without clearer footage, the mystery remains unresolved, and the Yellowstone webcam video continues to be debated by enthusiasts and skeptics alike. Footage courtesy: Small Town Monster. The investigative team, known for exploring the country's most mysterious Bigfoot sightings, left the forests of the Adirondacks and traveled to western Massachusetts to uncover more about the elusive creature in the Northeast. Along the way, they noticed that Kinderhook was right on their route, so they decided to stop in this small Hudson Valley town. There, they met Bruce Hallenbeck, a key figure in Bigfoot research and co-author of Monsters of the North Woods, who could reveal more about the mysterious creature.
Creature sightings and Bruce and all that kind of stuff.
Sure. If you know, in some of these regions, it's not what you would expect. Albany, New York, the capital of New York, if you go just 10 miles south, you will run into Kinderhook, New York. They have a creature down there. The leading expert on the Kinderhook creature is Bruce G. Hallenbeck. And Bruce Hallenbeck, several members of his family have had close encounters with a creature and multiple creatures down in that region.
The story of the Kinderhook creature begins long before sightings made headlines. It starts with a family encounter that would leave a lasting impression. One day, Barry, a cousin of the storyteller, was setting traps in the swampy land behind his parents' house when he came running back, pale and shaken.
In or around 1980, which is not all that far removed from the A-Bear incident of 1976. This was a time in history where Bigfoot sightings were happening all over the country, and there was a general sense that it's all right to talk about these things.
The creature or creatures in the Kinderhook area.
It's very elusive, whatever it is.
In fact, Hellenbeck says this thing is so elusive that he'll sometimes see tracks and then they suddenly stop, as if the creature had vanished into thin air.
Can you walk us through the Kinderhook creature events?
The Kinderhook creature story really is, in a way, the story of my grandma.
He had seen 3 strange creatures across the creek, tall, bipedal beings covered in reddish-brown hair, making eerie clacking and grunting sounds. This terrifying moment would mark the beginning of a family legacy intertwined with the mystery of the unknown. Later that year, the storyteller's grandmother began noticing strange activity around her home.
Creature curled up in the fetal position on her lawn, and she watched for a minute thinking it was a bear that was going to get up and walk, lumber away. Whatever it was got up, stood on 2 legs, and walked away. And they wrote to the Times-Union back then, a columnist named Barney Fowler, and he dubbed it the Kinderhook creature.
Close encounter with the creature.
Oh, he was big, tall, and he was standing on his 2 feet just like a person, and covered with black hair.
So he published a letter, and as a result of that, scores of other people wrote in saying that they had had similar experiences. They'd either seen something or they'd heard something they couldn't explain.
Trash bags were disappearing from her porch, only to be found in the middle of the yard, untied and rifled through, as if someone, or something, was searching for food. It seemed to have fingers, she thought. Soon she learned that her neighbor, Mrs. Walters, was experiencing the same disturbances. One day, she even found her trash bag hanging in a tree. Then, one early morning around 5 o'clock, as the first light of day crept in, the grandmother looked out her kitchen window and froze. On the ground, curled up in a fetal position, was something humanoid, but clearly not human. Horror washed over her that made her blood run cold.
There was also, I think it was when we made the tape, if I'm not mistaken, that my father went over across the road with a shotgun trying to see if he could see anything, and he said he saw something with red eyes. Something that he saw with red eyes, and he said there aren't really any animals native to this area that have red eyes. So that was part of it.
Still plays.
It's still, oh, you have the original one? Is that in there?
I was wondering if it was some kind of bird thing, but
Yeah, it would make weird bird noises. I was telling him about that.
when we shined the light on it, and then a couple of seconds later, it was down at the other end of the field where that driveway.
Yeah, it moved fast, whatever it was, or there were 2 of them.
Fast, whatever.
But he said he saw something with red eyes.
Red eyes.
She watched for a long moment, thinking it might just be a bear that would soon get up and walk away. But then, to her shock, the creature slowly stood up on 2 legs. It moved with surprising grace, walking off into the dim morning light, leaving her frozen with fear. The sight was so strange and unforgettable that a local columnist, Barney Fowler, later wrote about it in the Times-Union, calling them the Kinderhook creatures. Reports of strange encounters kept coming in, each more unsettling than the last. Up the road, a man named Philip Weingard claimed he saw a creature in a swamp matching the typical description and said it was making a horrible, spine-chilling sound. Another remarkable sighting came from Mike Babb, who was fishing at a nearby dam one afternoon. In broad daylight, he saw a creature emerge from the woods across the creek. It had reddish-brown hair, large dark eyes, and even black fingernails that were clearly visible. After observing it for a moment, the creature turned and disappeared back into the forest, leaving Babb stunned. With so many eyewitnesses describing tall bipedal creatures with reddish-brown hair and unsettling behavior, the question remains, are the Kinderhook creatures just a local legend, or is something truly out there in the forests of the Northeast? Which encounter stood out to you the most? Was it something unexplained, or do you think there's a simple explanation? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more mysterious encounters. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.